Welcome back to another episode of Modified with Trickfactory Customs. If this is your first time watching or listening, my name is Elvis.
I'm Rob.
And we have an amazing guest today. I say this literally all the time that we do this podcast, but that's because we have a lot of amazing guests. And this one is pretty special because we've been following you, Rob. You've been following RJFab for more than I have.
Yes,
but
thank you for uploading content because what you're putting out there is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's an inspiration to us all.
Honored.
Yeah, you build amazing, what would I call them? Trophy trucks, Ultra 4s. We're gonna dive into the whole world. We had Morgan Clark on, we've had him a few times on. And so you guys are in a similar world, I would say.
We're competitors and very good friends all at the same time. So yeah.
It's so
That guy
awesome.
makes everybody step their game up. Like he's phenomenal. Yeah,
real,
for sure.
Yeah, his work is amazing, and we've seen a lot of your stuff, but most recently what you've been, I guess what a lot of people have been brought to your, or made aware of you guys is with your, is it a 49 or a 41 Willys?
49.
49, yes, Willys
49.
that won at Battle of the Builders last year at SEMA.
Yes.
Amazing. Like, there's so much about that thing that we're gonna, every time I see it, it is so good. Like, everything about it, all the attention to detail.
We all were glued to it for the longest time. Like, we were at SEMA as well. And man, what an incredible piece. What an incredible story. I can't wait for you to share a little bit about it if you like.
Absolutely.
But what a beautiful project. As well as all the other things that I've seen you do. So I really can't wait to talk to you a little bit about all of these.
This is RJFab, or Rob from RJFab, and we're so excited to chat with you today. It's gonna be
Awesome.
it's gonna be a great time.
Very cool.
Who are you? Who are, like, if you could tell, like, give us like a spark notes of who you are, and then we'll dive into the conversation. I know you might not want to pump your tires or say, "Oh,
No,
I'm
it's
amazing,"
fine.
but
It's fine. Yeah. No, it's all right. It's all right. So I'm Rob from RJ Fabrication in Hesperia, California. We build luxury pre-runner off-road trucks and high horsepower street cars. That's probably the easiest way to sum it up. So the trucks take about 3 times the amount of time and work and effort than the cars do, it seems like. So yeah, so we may have like 8 cars being built at any given time and 2 trucks usually. And so
wild.
yeah, and it's a lot. Like, I actually would like to trim it down a little bit to maybe 4 cars and 1 truck, which would be, but you got to take the work while you got the work. So if people are interested. Plus, even we had discussed Morgan earlier. He had touched base on something on his Instagram the other day, and it's so profound. I'm 54 now, so I only have X amount of time left.
100%.
So I'm not going to waste my time building stuff that I'm not interested in. I want to build what I'm interested in at this juncture. When you're 21, you're taking whatever they're throwing at you. But at this point, and I'm not trying to sound snobby. It's not about being a snob. And, I'm not saying that certain people's projects are lesser projects. It's just I may not be interested in doing a boat tail speedster or something like that at this juncture of my career. So
Yeah, and how can anybody expect you to put your best foot forward if you're not interested? So
100%.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're enthused about it, the client's gonna get a better product at the end of the day. When it's all said and done, if you're enthused the whole way through, he's gonna get an incredible piece.
Absolutely right. You tend to over deliver just without even thinking about it. You just do.
Yeah. If you're micromanaged and you're kind of, it takes a little bit of the love and the fun out of it, and so you find yourself, you always want to put your best foot forward, but there's just like a little piece of resentment there where you're just like,
It'll dig at you for sure.
It just does.
But no,
It just does.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool that you also mentioned, I mean, you said you're 54, but I feel like even you and Tim talk about it all the time. Of you guys are also, you just turned 50.
I did.
So you want to build what you want to build now. Like, you want to pick, you don't want to just take anything on.
You only have so much time to do the things, even if you don't like it, doing what you like is a really important thing to pursue. So
Yeah, and so even we were also chatting with Chris Ashton from Ruffian Cars. He said the same thing. He's been in video games forever. And now it's like he gets to do what he actually wants and loves to do, because how many cars can you build in a lifetime? Or I guess
Exactly. There's only so much.
Yeah.
And if you want to get straight up, get scared, if you break things into percentages, because I like to break things into percentages, it really puts things into perspective. But you may, I might say, oh, I got 20, 30 years left, man. This is awesome. No big deal. Okay, well, now let's break it down into percentages. I have 25% left. You know what I mean? Okay, well, that, holy shit, like that. You put it like that, you're like, okay, let's get real then.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So, like, how did you even get into this world of building cars?
Realistically, I was interested in fabrication and building stuff, as a young man, and in my teens, even like before teens, messing around with dirt bikes and go-karts and stuff like that. And my parents weren't acclimated to that at all. They weren't interested in that kind of stuff. So it was always neighborhood trading and bartering for what you wanted and what you needed. And so that gives you a little bit of I don't know what the word, you're kind of savvy to figuring stuff out at an early age. And so, but how it ultimately got started in the bigger picture was, in high school, I built a sand rail and metal shop. Like, I bought a piece of shit Volkswagen, cut it apart in auto shop, drug it over to a metal shop, and just started building my own sand rail, which was a total pile of shit for sure. But it was the best pile of shit I could build at the time, And so, just honing my welding skills and honing skills that, and then when I bought my first home, it had a little 1,000 square foot shop behind it. And that's the whole reason I bought it. And I built, I built a couple Z cars. My main love is 240Zs. Like, I've had a few of them, and so, yeah, and that'll be the last stuff I build for myself. I have 3 of them I'm sitting on right now.
3?
I'm gonna do 3 different renderings, renditions of what I want. One to pay homage to my high school one, and then some more radical ones. But I wrecked all of them like an idiot, And so, so I bought a Camaro in 1992 when I first bought that home, and I really wanted a pro street car. So I only had it for maybe a month or two, and I just did the biggest burnout I would do in front of my house, and I called that my that's my baseline right there. And so, and then I took it into the shop and we cut it up. And so when that car was done, I started, hanging out at street races, doing a little street racing, goofing off with the car. But people started asking me like, hey, who did your roll cage, or who tubbed your car? Who did, well, I did it. And so they just asked, can you do it for me? Wow. Yeah, no problem. And I was working at I was transitioning. I worked at a motorcycle dealership after high school as the parts manager. And then I also built steel framed homes. I left there to build steel framed homes when my girlfriend got pregnant. And that's a big wake up call. You're like, oh man, I'm, $7.25 an hour isn't going to cut it anymore. I better handle this. Yep. And so, so I was working for this company called Tri-Steel, and that transitioned into a truss yard. I used to build all the hydraulic equipment and machinery for this truss yard, plus take care of all their forklifts and their fleet of vehicles and stuff like that. And so when I bought that Camaro and turned it into a pro street car, I started getting bombarded with so many people asking me, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? That I just got to a point where I'm like, okay, I can do something with this, or I can, maybe dabble on the side, but I just don't feel like that's going to whet my appetite for it. Like, I really need to, this is where I feel like I need to be, and not working at a truss yard. Like, that's just for me. And so I went in with the most ridiculous offer ever. I think, gosh, so you figure this was like 98 when this all actually went down, 98, 99. And so I told him I wanted $45 an hour, which, if you remember 98, 99, that's ridiculous. That's like $150,000 or $150,000, K a year job. And so, the boss was like, well, I don't even make that much money. I said, well, I know, but it doesn't matter to me. That's what I want. And so he's like, well, no, that's not going to happen. I said, well, I'm going to quit then.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, are you going to put in your 2 weeks? I said, no, I'm heading to the time clock right now, dude. So that's literally the only bridge I think I've ever burnt, which me and that guy remained friends. He was a good dude. But okay. Because I was literally working, I was probably sleeping about 4 hours a night. I was trying to balance a girlfriend, Horrible
Yeah.
girlfriend at the time, by the way. But anyway, trying to balance a girlfriend and work full time at this truss yard and build cars full time, and it just
That's a
wasn't
lot.
happening anymore. So yeah, so I just cut out all the bad, went right for the good, and I literally fell right on my face. I had 2 vehicles that I was building. I was building a '58 Ranchero, Pro Street Ranchero for a guy, and just the chassis portion of it. So I finished that, and I was also doing a '65 El Camino, Pro Street El Camino. Guy who worked for the transit company in LA, drove it up. He wanted me to tub it out, Pro Street it, cage it, and then he wanted to come pick it up and drive it home. And so that happened, and I had another vehicle scheduled, but that scheduling didn't work out, and so I ended up not having work. So I went to Southern California Logistics Airport and worked with a buddy. He was tearing planes down. He was in charge of a crew tearing planes down. And so I tore planes down for about, 8 or 9 months while I built my clientele back up. And then I quit that job, and then I never looked back. But it was such a valuable lesson for me about scheduling and stuff. So, but yeah, so that's kind of how I got started, and I never looked back after I figured that, you have a 1,000 square foot shop and you only have 2 bays. You have to be really, really on top of scheduling stuff. And so, working myself out of work taught me a very valuable lesson. And so, so now that it's made me schedule stuff. I'm really on top of scheduling always, since that moment, always have been. So, yeah. And so it was just that simple. I built something that people liked and thought was cool, and it just paid dividends, later on. So it's kind of rad. I feel I'm lucky, honestly. I had no direction, just working jobs, just really didn't know what I wanted to do. I know what I was good at, but I didn't know, how to make a living at it or what I really, really wanted to do. And so I accidentally fell into doing this kind of in a way, and it's just been the best life ever. Like this is,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's very cool. I can kind of relate a little tiny bit. Like I came from industrial fabrication as well. Doing what you got to do, working multiple jobs, trying to, have some sort of semblance of life and moving forward in what your passion is, that's as well as like to build a custom chassis or like something like what you're talking about. Like this is a very specific requirements that you're building it towards. Did you have any sort of like mentorship or anything like that to sort of guide you along making the right decisions as far as like how to build it? Because like full on like truss building and stuff like that is an entirely different jam than building a drag chassis.
Yeah, so when I worked for the company TriSteel, before I transitioned into the truss yard, TriSteel rented a bay from that truss yard. So when they closed out, that's why I just stayed and started working for the truss yard. But I learned how to read blueprints from that guy. I learned how to lay out, certain things. Pretty much running the show of that. And there was a guy named Mark Koenig that taught me a lot of that kind of stuff. And so, but he wasn't necessarily car oriented. He just taught me a lot of knowledge as far as blueprint reading and, treating metal, certain metal treatments and things like that. So I learned that from him. But other than that, there really wasn't anybody other than car builders that you look up to that, there was a guy named Scott Sullivan. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was really deep into the Pro Street scene and built a lot of really high-end Pro Street cars that weren't super gaudy. They had just the right touches, nice. And so he was he was a good guy to follow. And you had to wait. I mean, we get our information instantaneously now. I had to wait for, our man, I guess he's not on this episode of Hot Rod or on this issue of Hot Rod. I got to. Maybe next month he'll have something,
Next month's magazine subscription to come in, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's really what we lived off back then. Yeah. And so him, and then I learned about Troy Trepanier. I'm trying to think of what year, probably 93, 94. And so I started following him a little bit. And then the other big inspiration for me was RJ Gottlieb, Big Red Camaro. And so in high school, because I think me and RJ are pretty much the same age. And so I remember reading in Hot Rod magazine, the guy's, 18 years old or 17, I think at the time, racing open road races in Mexico. And I'm like, oh man, I can do this. This is cool, But the Big Red Camaro itself was just an amazing build, especially for the day. Like they had a guy that built NASCAR chassis, build that for them.
Oh yeah.
And so, I think those were the things that inspired me. but nobody giving me exact direction on how to do it. And so you just got to figure it out sometimes. And so, I would look at some pictures of stuff, and that's all you really had available to you at that time, is looking at some pictures and just, dissecting it and going, okay, this goes here and this goes here. Let's make it work.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's like advanced problem solving. Like if you're dissecting a photo,
realistically,
to figure, okay, what size diameter tubing is that? What's the wall thickness?
You're reverse engineering it in your mind.
Yeah. There's so much to learn from doing it in that way. It's a lot like you said. The information now is just so instantaneous and so overwhelming. That and anything you want is there for your taking. But the old way was you learned a lot along the way. The process, you ended up retaining so much more of the information through that process. I feel.
No, I agree with you, because it's not so instantaneous that you're flooding yourself with so much information. You only have this, so you're only dissecting this over and over and over again, and so. Yeah, it sticks when you do it that way.
If you were lucky enough to come across a video that was on, say, like a VHS, and you could rewind it and just play the same clip over and over and over again. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've ever done that.
Well, and I had forgotten about it until you just mentioned that. But there was a book. I can picture the cover in my mind, and I still have it. I don't know why I can't think of I think the guy's name is Morgan also, but it's chassis design and engineering by so-and-so. And it goes over, doesn't go how to build chassis, but it goes over setting them up and how to plot your instant center, roll center, all kinds of good stuff that, for race car suspension setup and application.
I'm just kind of curious because I'm trying to visualize if I got the same book. Is it a white cover?
No, it's like orange, and it has like a 3rd gen Firebird, I think, on the front, but they're not showing the whole car.
Got it. All right.
It's
those books. Like I got stacks of those books.
Stacks of them. How to put your L series Datsun engine. How to, what I mean? All that good stuff. Yeah.
Super good. Yeah.
Elvis,
you probably didn't.
I have no clue.
Experience in that. Elvis is significantly younger.
Yeah, I know, but no. I'm the social media video guy here at the shop, but I also love cars, and I'm trying to build some stuff, but it's nice to have them or Rob and Tim as a resource, because now I'm using a lot of CAD to design and build my chassis for my Datsun, because I have a 280, but they've been a huge resource, because even though you can Google some stuff, but some stuff you also Google on the internet, you don't know which one is right or which one is wrong, but they could tell you from experience, okay, 1/8 wall tubing or 3/16 is going to be good for this or that, and what's the difference between hot rolled and cold rolled, and why you don't want to use one for the other. And so a lot of those things I would have never been able to know without actually learning by failure or fire or whatever. So it's nice to have guys like Rob and Tim that have been through the whole process for years and years. So yes.
Just remember, 3/16 in the automotive world is massive thick.
Yeah. It's funny.
125 thou max in the car world. In the truck world, we use a few, 250 thou and 187 thou, which is 3/16. We use a little bit of that here and there, but ultimately in the car world, 125 thou max, 1/8 inch max. And so
that's some beefy shit.
Yeah, because I was designing some brackets that was I was 3/16 everything, and Rob was like, this is kind of too thick.
You don't need to do that.
It'll work, but weight is the enemy. So,
because there's a saying, what does Tim say? Or it's like build. Steel is stronger than brains or something. So I'm like, don't overbuild.
You can overbuild it. It'll work.
Oh yeah.
You
don't need the extra weight. And thankfully we have an
Master's
engineer
the enemy.
here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
But. So Elvis, you just reminded me of a conversation that we were having in the shop the other day because of different generations and different age gaps. I told my guy. He was looking for something. I said, it's on my Rolodex. He's like, what's a Rolodex? And I'm like, oh.
What is a Rolodex, actually?
You really don't know?
I don't know. What is it? Is it like a card game?
You keep phone numbers in. in.
Like a phone book.
It's like a phone, but it rolls, and it has these cards on it. Oh, my gosh. I'm sure you need that. Oh, my coffee cup is very apropos right now.
I know. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
I
I'm
know,
kidding.
I know. Yeah, no, there's a lot of references I would have no. I have been alive to see like cassette tapes and all that, but not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before
8
Google
tracks are
Maps-
beyond you then.
Yeah, no,
Google
8
the
tracks
real
and
8
beyond.
tracks are
But
beyond
yeah, I do have some cars that have them, but still.
you. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. But
Back in my day, if you had a problem with somebody or you had a problem with the girl, you literally had to dial that shit.
That
So
is
you had time to think about what you were gonna say as you're like,
you're like trying.
yeah, it's brutal. It was brutal.
Sometimes I think I'm like, how did people survive even without Google Maps? Like, how is that? How you just read the maps with like a flashlight pointing down at night? Like, how do you even? So
Yep.
sometimes I think about these things. And
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
maps that are in your glove box that never fold up the way they unfolded the first time ever. Yeah.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
gosh,
how
and
we
spill
found
stuff
stuff.
on them
Yep.
and everything. So it's pretty cool, like how far we've come, or how much we've seen, I guess, as a generation in the last 50 years.
Well,
So I think it's been wild.
Yeah, it's crazy to me to think that you know, as technology gets better and better, then the ball, it's like it just gets bigger and bigger, and like, so what we gained in the 40 years ago, we've gained 400% more the next generation, and then the next generation we gained 800% more technology. Like,
That's
it's
exponential.
crazy.
It's pretty.
It is
cool.
exponential.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
And so like I would have never even thought that guys like me that have no experience doing anything would be able to build and design stuff in CAD and just like have it laser cut and then you weld it. I mean, it's not as easy as that, but
No, but, yeah,
but it's just
pretty
wild.
rad.
Like things that were open to manufacturers of cars like decades ago or even 20, 30 years ago are now
Yep.
common for normal guys like me, 3D printing and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. It's pretty
Yeah.
wild. So
Yeah.
At your shop, do you guys use all of that stuff, CAD and 3D this and that? No?
No, and I feel a type of way about that.
Oh gosh.
I do. I do.
Okay.
And so here's the best way for me to just explain my feelings on it. It doesn't make me right.
No,
it's
no,
just
sure.
my opinion.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so it all has its place. Like
Mm.
3D printed parts have their place 100%. It's amazing what you can do. But I have seen, and this is going to hurt some feelings, but I see some cars as of late where other than the tires, the whole effing car is
Yeah, 3D printed. Yeah.
Where's the soul of that car? Where's the handcrafted, like, you got a guy that's can sit at the computer and design all this stuff, and I'm not taking that guy smart as shit, man. I can't take anything away from that guy. But there's a certain amount of soul that you're pouring into a vehicle that you're hand shaping and hand crafting and doing that stuff. And I think, to me, it's lost a little bit on the cars that are completely printed out and everything's, that's just my thought. And I'm concerned of the future of that. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like we are losing craftsmen, and so when we do find the ones that are interested in this, we need to nurture those guys because, the computer and the printer still can't do what a human can do. Like, it could do
True.
more things for sure, but also sometimes the little imperfections are what give it that living soul, that thing that makes it, you and I know, Rob, if you build a car from hand, people look at it from the outside and they're like, oh my God, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It isn't. And you and I, as the builders, we know where problems are and what. But those are kind of the things that give it a little bit of life too, in my opinion.
That's right. That's right. The handcrafted touch, imperfections in everything is all part of the story and what makes it what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I fear that, so I feel like, the technology that we have has its place and we need to use it to build and better what we're building for sure. But I just don't feel like everything should go to that.
No.
Yeah. I'm afraid of losing, I fear losing, because there, you can print just about anything nowadays. Like, it's really amazing. Like the horn, but I have a formulating steering wheel on my Volkswagen. I don't know if you guys remember those steering wheels. They were 4-spoke.
Okay.
Elvis, I know you don't remember that.
No
steering
clue.
wheel. And so the horn is deteriorating. It's just crumbling.
Yeah.
That rubber material. And so my nephew's like, I'll just print you one, Rob. Like, we have the material that we can print. I'm like, which is rad. Don't get me wrong. Like, where else are you going to get it? You're not going to get another one. They don't make them.
Yeah.
And so that part is amazing that you can, but like I said, there's something to be said for, craftsmen. Like there's I think I saw them printing homes. I just saw a thing where they're 3D printing homes. It's insane.
What?
I mean, yeah. So,
That's wild.
but think about this. What about the guy that hand shapes a boat? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That is a
Yeah,
lovingly
100%.
crafted piece of art that just, you can make it perfect I'm sure they can 3D print some form of wood or something similar, so you could do it perfect that way. But the guy that hand carved it, it may have it looks perfect and it looks beautiful, but like you said, it may have some imperfections, and the imperfections what give it life and give it the story that
I like to believe that those types of projects and those craftsmen, they're always gonna be there.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I think there's always gonna be a call for a real craftsman's touch.
I hope so, man.
I hope so
I
too.
do.
Yeah.
I think because when you think about it, most people really appreciate that hand touch. Like I think a lot of people share the same opinion that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The full computer AI generated versions of things are absolutely unbelievably crazy cool and what they're capable of, but there's something missing. And you can see it. Everybody can see it. It's too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But what sets you apart, like from the next guy that
That's
can 3D
true.
print the
That's
same
true.
thing? That's kind of, I think, what I'm getting at. So I think it has its place, but we need to move forward mindfully with this stuff. And in my opinion, that
No, yeah, I agree. Like it does have its place, and you can't take away from that. As much as AI tries to, you still can't replicate what a human can do. We had like a 27 Bentley at the shop, and there's some parts that cannot be, like, they don't make all of that stuff anymore. And so, or you have to like send it to a foundry, and only God knows when you'll get it back. And it's for like sand casting and all of that stuff.
Even the tooling that made it doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
this is true. Right?
Yeah. So for stuff like that, that was the first time it was a few months ago, we experimented with like 3D metal printing. And so that was pretty wild to have like it designed and it fit. And the customer was like so excited. I was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, it's in some cases like that, it just becomes like a process that just makes sense. So you just do that. You're like, okay, well, this makes sense. Let's do that.
Yeah, it has its application.
There's plenty of other options on how to achieve the same goal, but this particular one was that sort of solution. And I mean, used in that way, I think it's very powerful. To just let it do all the things is obviously not the right answer for everything.
In my opinion, like I said, that doesn't make me right. There's something to be said for a car that takes 4 years to build.
Oh yeah.
It took 4 years for a reason.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you could bang it out in a year, I'm sure the guy paying is way happier, and he gets to enjoy it way sooner, and that's fine. But there's something about a car that takes 4 years. That relationship that you build and you have with the client, especially if you're communicating, constant communication is paramount. But I'm just saying, there's that story that develops, and that relationship, and that thing that that comes over a 4-year span or a 3-year span or whatever it takes to handcraft a car.
Yeah, but I also don't think like the fabricator is gonna be replaced like ever. Like I don't think that's gonna be a thing because
I don't think so.
No.
I think there are some jobs that can be replaced, but we're like I'm in line at Home Depot the other day, and this girl's hey, there's a self-checkout available. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm about human interaction. I'll just wait in line.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good. So
That's just how I feel about it.
yeah, same. I also prefer.
That's very important. Like, you bring that up. I mean, that's an important thing that we should all be mindful of. If you just automatically gravitate towards the other option,
I don't want to talk to anybody.
now that person's out of a job.
Yeah. That's,
We all get those moods too. Sometimes I don't want to talk to anybody, but ultimately,
with the next generation coming in behind us, you got your young guys. We got guys like Elvis, our young engineer, our designers. They're all the younger generation, and it's really cool for us to be able to like share what our experiences are and sort of help to guide them in a way that they can learn.
1,000% necessary. Your guys' young minds are incredibly paramount to our life and what we're doing, and what we build and what we do. But at the same time, we also need a little bit of both. Like I'm so about vocational stuff. Like it's ultimately, not everybody wants to go to college and, be a lawyer. It's,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about getting your hands dirty and getting yourself,
Yeah. So, but again, at the end of the day, even though you can print everything or design everything, you still need to do the work. Like, it's not just going to assemble itself.
Certainly. No, for sure. You're right. You're right about
At least
that.
for now.
It
At
doesn't
least for
just
now. I
work.
don't know if 20
Yeah.
years from now they'll have a machine doing all of that, but
I mean, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, we're not at the age yet where you just, the next day you come in and open the door and you drive it out. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Yeah.
So, it
But
should be
I remember literally, it must have been 25 years ago. I was at the Edelbrock facility, and they were 3D printing an aluminum manifold. And I
25
just
years
was
ago.
mind-blown. This is 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, you could walk through, and it was in a big case, and you could watch the printer make passes and skip over the areas that it wasn't. Yeah.
That's
And I'm like,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah.
That's
it was
mind-blowing.
mind-blowing.
Yeah, 25 years ago, they're pioneering, hey? Wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yep.
And yeah, but we just wanted to also chat with you about some of you guys' stuff at the shop, because I know you guys have some really cool things and you have an active social media. Let's just go with the build that a lot of people would recognize you guys by. Let's start there, and then we can move to more
Okay, sure,
more of the
sure.
other ones.
Yeah.
But tell us about
Yeah.
the 49 Willies and how that happened, because again, we've just gone through a little bit about it. It is every inch about it is amazing. So just tell us what you, I guess, remember about that project.
Well, I mean, the easiest, let's just start at the beginning of how it actually even came about, because it's kind of a neat story. But I want to say it was 2018 I think it was 2018 or 19, and the grandson actually saw my Ranger at Off-Road Expo, and I think he kept bugging his dad like, hey, I really want this guy to build us a Ranger. Let's build a Ranger. Let's build a Ranger. So him and his father came up, and they sat in my Ranger, they checked it out, and they said, yeah, we want to build one for sure. And at that time, I was out about a year. I had a 1-year waiting list. And so I told them, hey, I'll put you on the list, and I'll call you when your spot comes up. And so sure enough, spot came up. I called him, and I said, hey, do you want to do you want to bring your Ranger up? And they said, well, we do, but can we do something else? Could we do a different project? And I said, okay, maybe. What is it? And they said, well, it's for our grandpa. We thought we would build something for him first, and it's a 49 Willys pickup. And I said, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And I said, what style? And they said, well, we definitely want 4-wheel drive. We want, and I said, okay, well, it's your spot. And so let's go ahead and make it happen. So they did. They brought it up. I met the grandpa. His name's Lee. And, Lee just said, listen, this is something I've had since I think he was 15 years old when he bought it off of his grandpa.
Oh my
who
gosh.
I think bought it new. I know it's cool. And they had it on their farm out in Arizona. And and he said, listen, I just want it to resemble, he literally pulled me aside, and there's only a couple criteria I want you to meet. It has to resemble a 49 Willys when you're done. I know you're going to modify it and you're going to make it way cooler, but it needs to look like a Willys. And then the only other thing is, I need you to be enthused about the project the whole way through, which we already touched base on that.
Yeah.
And realistically, I almost didn't even know why he said that to me. Now I know totally why he said that to me. But at that time, I didn't really process exactly why he wanted me to be enthused about it the whole way through. And I get it now.
Yeah.
And that's why he has what he has now at the end of the day or so. But so we got started on it. He said, listen, this thing is going to be fueled by my grandkids. Someday they're going to have it. And so let's build it how they want it. As long as I could take my wife to, coffee in the morning, will it be able to do that? I said, yeah, it'll be able to do that all day long. He said, okay, well then we're good to go. It's still going to have 4-wheel drive. It's got to have 4-wheel drive. I said, yeah, it's still going to have 4-wheel drive. And so that was, so the kids come in and they're like, oh, we need these shocks and let's put it on 40s. I want to do this and do that. And I said, okay.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, what a rad family. Good people to work with and work for, and to collaborate with. Like they were very open to ideas. They had their own ideas too, and we incorporated as many of those ideas as we could. But it, just like most projects, it kind of grows into this entity that the client nor myself even thought it was going to go to that level. Like we didn't set out to build what we built. Realistically, we just wanted a functional 4x4 Willys truck, and it just turned into just, hey, let's stretch the cab, let's make more room, let's use a Triton Engineering front end, let's get a bunch of horsepower, and these things, they just kind of morph into getting a little bit out of control, and I think it got a lot out of control, actually.
just a little, yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, I mean, 49 Willys is a pretty small little cabin, right? Like, it's a small cockpit.
It's smaller than a Volkswagen inside. Like,
yeah. And so, like, I have to assume, like, packaging all the luxury items that your shop and you guys are known for, that must have been quite a challenge. Like, what was probably one of the biggest challenges when you were faced with that particular project?
Well, exactly what you just said. Compartmentalizing and packaging everything in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And also making it serviceable. Like, it's, you have to be able to service these things. And so that was the most difficult thing. And that was the most amount of time and engineering that went into the vehicle was, like, hey, we can put this here, but once it's buried, you're never going to get to it again. So now let's put this here, but let's make everything come out of the way easily so that we could access this.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people out there listening, watching probably really realize it, but like when you're talking like these Ultra 4s, these pre-runners, these big trucks, I mean, you need a lot of horsepower to be able to move those big 40-inch tires and all that mass. I mean, so with that comes like massive requirements for heat management and all of that. And like what you were just touching on, serviceability, like when you first look at it, it may look like everything's all wide open. It's just right there, but it's not really the case, is it? And like in that, with that cabin space and that sort of footprint and everything that it is, I would have to assume that was an unbelievably hard task to accomplish.
It was, yeah. That was the number one thing that we were, I'm not going to say fighting, but just being super mindful of and really, really taking our time to engineer into the vehicle was serviceability.
Wow.
It just makes it.
So give me some examples of that. Like, just give me off the top of your head, like what are the top things that like was like, okay.
So like the coil packs are on the bottom of the engine.
Yeah. You see a very, very non-traditional spot.
So
right?
wild.
Yeah, they're on the bottom of the engine. It comes off the engine in seconds. Has a cannon plug, like Jack's Motorsports wired that thing up for us. Dude's incredible. Just one cannon plug. Wow. You disconnect the plug wires, the whole assembly drops off out of the way so you could change the oil. That's just one of them. The drive shaft, the way the drive shaft snakes around, through the front drive shaft, and the way we did the carrier bearing, which I don't know if it's exactly how Mason does theirs, but I just saw a picture of a Mason truck and I'm like, they built their own carrier bearing. So I did a bunch of research on what bearings would work and how to press it together, and and so that was another cool feature on it. The shock mounts and the drive system for the front of the engine was out of hand. Like that was the most engineering I think we've ever done, and we've learned a ton of stuff about belt sine waving and not contacting certain pulleys and driving certain components of the vehicle. On the dyno we learned a bunch of that stuff. Wow. The dyno is such a incredibly useful tool for figuring this kind of stuff out. We learned that it's near impossible to manually tension a supercharged engine, like especially one that has like grip tech pulleys on it where it cannot slip on the pulley. We had on the dyno where the last part after the manual tensioner came back around onto the water pump. We have video of it stretching the belt so far that it's not even it's keeping its shape around the water pump pulley, but it's not touching it. Wow. Not touching it but half inch all the way around. Like it's mind blowing.
That's a big gap.
It's like the belt stretched 2 inches, like it's just.
How does that happen, right? Like, would you say sine waving?
Yeah, sine waving where
What is that?
it's where the belt is doing this motion.
Oh,
like it's getting,
shit. That's
yeah.
what you mean.
So you have tension everywhere, and then the spot where you don't have tension, where it's stretched and it's just flapping, and so,
So wild.
I never heard anybody call it that. That's cool.
Yeah, so
Well, it makes sense.
we just learned so much from the dyno, and making that drive system work, just and silly things. Nobody's perfect. This is a funny story, actually. So Nick's so smart, my lead fabricator. He built this system and he gets it designed on the computer, and he starts making brackets, and I walk over and I go, "That's nice. Too bad you encapsulated the upper, radiator tube, though."
Oh,
You gonna pull the radiator tube off to change the belt? That's a no-go. Oh, dang it. Okay, hold on. Let me get back to the computer real quick. Let me redesign this part right here. So just little things, just shows that nobody's perfect. And, you got to figure stuff out sometimes as you go. There's no books on this stuff. There's no, labor books or flag books or whatever on what, how to do it or how to build it. So you got to figure it out. And so that's one of the things that we learned from this whole experience was about the supercharger belt itself. There's just so much, like 2 Holley LCQ screens, air conditioning. It's so tight that we used the lateral mid tube behind the dash is also our AC vent tube.
Wow. Yeah.
Like we coved it out. We made these super cool scallop pieces that help direct airflow out the vents, and
that is so cool.
And because of moisture and condensation, we flooded it with Cerakote inside there. We were just dumping that stuff in there, coating it to the best of our ability. But and we got that idea from years ago. We did a cage for Tony Vanello. I don't know if you know who Tony Vanello is. He used to run North American Off-Road. So him and his crew built all the Baldwin race trucks that were designed by Brian Cadella back in the day. And so super, super smart guy. And so I don't know which one of us came up with the idea, but he machined the parts for it. But we put all the Parker pumpers through the cage. So you just plug your hose onto the cage. You don't have to find the box. It was rad. It was like such a cool, easy little thing that is just, is just super neat, super simple, but just super neat. So, but yeah, the Willys has just so much of that on it, throughout. Just, hey, there's no room for this, so we got to figure something out. And so, running the AC system through the AC system's under the center console, along with all of our PDMs, electronics, and stuff like that, which. And then the center console comes off super quick also because we need access to that stuff. And so, when you're out of room, you just start, even the headliner is incorporated all the radios and car-to-car communications is overhead in that piece. So, and then as you build it, you're thinking about upholstery and upholstery gaps and things like that. So, you got to use your mind all the time, that's the challenging, fun part about it. That's what makes car building so cool,
Yeah, like trying to forethink steps ahead, many steps ahead, so that what you do today doesn't bite you in the ass tomorrow.
It's like performance driving. You got to be 5 steps ahead the whole time.
Yeah, right.
And so same thing with car building. You need to be 5 steps ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be building one portion of the car, but you need to be thinking about this portion over here.
And that's a good skill set that you learned from in the onset. When you had the really small garage and you're talking about scheduling and figuring things out long before you actually need it. So
for sure.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So the luxury Ultra 4 Willys is amazing. It's unbelievable. Like I said, we were all looking at it. Congratulations on your accomplishment for that. I'm absolutely sure your clients are super stunned and just shocked and
they're so happy with everything. It has yet to hit the dirt, and that's where we really need to prove what it can do. So they're big duners, they're not big desert guys. And so I'm sure it'll see the desert eventually, but ultimately I think its first trip out in the dirt will be this dune season coming up here. So
that is so cool.
Yeah,
it is just so wild. And you talked about it again, but the fact that we were able to fit so many things into such a small package, the engineering is wild. But it's not just but it's not just the engineering, it's also the style. It also has style to it is the cool part. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful truck. Like
Yeah.
it's, you know, I got the best compliment of my whole life at Grand National Roadster Show this year. So we were asked to bring it to Grand National Roadster Show. We had it over in one of the, it wasn't in the main building, it was in one of the other buildings, just, you know, amongst a bunch of other super cool, you know, cars and vehicles and stuff. And so I was actually on a cruise, and so I couldn't be there this is the first time I let my guys have full control. Like
okay.
they took the vehicle down there, they loaded it, they did, you know, and so I was a little nervous. I mean, they're amazing. I'm sure that it would be fine, but still there's a little percentage of nervousness with me. Like I'm not there to make sure everything's going perfect. And so, so I missed Saturday. And so Saturday, and we had a problem. We didn't have a lot of test time on the vehicle when we delivered it as well. And so, but the clients really were at the point where we're like, hey, we really would like to enjoy this thing. And so I said, cool, then you guys are the ones that are going to test it. Normally I would put some miles on it and test it, but ultimately you guys are going to be the ones to test it. So, and so when we took it down there, we actually had an alternator pulley issue where the back of the pulley was contacting. We had machined it out to not contact the alternator, but it was just it needed a few thou more machined off of it. So it ended up rolling the pulley on the shaft.
Oh yeah.
So my guy was down there fixing that early in the morning, and like 7 or 8 guys come walking up, and you know, they're looking at everything, and so one guy starts talking to Nick, and he said, hey man, we've been dying to come see this thing, like that, you know, this thing's super rad. Do you mind if we come across the ropes here and really get a good look at this thing? Nick's like, yeah, it's fine, you know. And so then Nick looks over and he realizes they're all wearing Rad Rides by Troy shirts, you know.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it was their crew, which I was bummed that I wasn't there for that. And so Troy asked Nick, are you Rob? He said, no, I'm Nick. I'm the main fabricator. Rob's on a cruise, but he'll be here tomorrow. So I made sure I made a point to go talk to Troy when I got there on Sunday. And he said, dude, I got to tell you, he's all, no joke, that is the baddest thing on this property right now.
Oh my gosh. That is
like,
so
there's no way.
Oh man.
Hey, dude, you know you're going to win the Soniker. You know you're going to win every award here with the car you brought. Like, there's no way. And he's all, Rob, I'm telling you, he's all, it has so much, you know, engineering in it, so much technology, and it has the fit and finish of a hot rod. It's an off-road vehicle, has fit and finish of a hot rod. He's all, dude, you know. So I'm stoked because I think I haven't talked to him since then, but I got to make sure the Ranger's working next GNRS, because when he comes out, I want him to, he said, I want to come up and check out the shop, and that's why I'm going to take you out in the Ranger, you know, so, because that's like my hero of car building.
Yeah.
So that's the best compliment I ever got my whole life. Like, holy shit.
I get shivers for you.
Literally, I'm
thinking about that.
I have to check myself because I'll get emotional about it. Like, you'll see a little tear come out of my eye. I'm telling you, it's such a big deal.
That is so cool. Yeah, I can't imagine what that must have felt like in the moment. Or that's so cool.
Yeah, and so it just makes the Willies, to me, just that much more incredibly special, you know, because it you know, brought that relationship. I mean, me and Troy don't have a relationship per se, but
still,
you know, just he knows who we were, and that's just epic to me. Like, you know, I'm just another car builder, really.
It's like one of the coolest things. Like one of my favorite experiences about going to SEMA with a build. You know, even if you're just there, like the opportunity to go and have a conversation, like, and you know, this is one of those kind of moments where it's very surreal. Like, we all look up to what you're doing. We all look up to somebody. There's a lot of inspiration out there, and having those moments where you're like, oh man, you're a real human, and like everything that you do inspires me so much, and to be able to do that, that's super, super cool, man. And I'm stoked for you for that achievement. That's amazing.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah, if nothing else, you know, I mean, that's the pinnacle of my career, ultimately. Like, if we close the shop tomorrow, so be it, you know.
So be it. But like, there's so much more in your brain with your crew, with what you got going on after your experience with SEMA, the GNRS show, and that whole thing. I mean, what's next, man? Like,
well,
we're all dying to know and see.
So we're building a crew cab truck with the new GM ZZ632 crate engine.
Oh, the 1,000
Yeah,
horsepower
so-
one?
Yep.
Oh,
So it's got
nice.
big power. We're using Igor from Triton Engineering's, four-wheel drive front end platform again, the same one we used on the Willys.
Yeah.
And then Sean Kepler drew. That's the one of two trucks that we're having designed in CAD, which we've never done that for. We've never built a full truck in CAD. So Sean Kepler is drawing this one. And so it's actually off the chassis table now. It's almost a roller. We had to cut Igor's front upper shock mount bulkhead apart. Sorry, Igor, but it was in the way of what we were doing with it, and so I'm sure he's fine with it. But, to get the engine in and out of our platform, we can't have that there. So we're incorporating the upper shock mount. We're not changing his geometry, but we're going to incorporate his shock mount in the actual upper part of the chassis that's removable.
Yeah.
And so, but that has, the cool thing about this truck is I see a lot of four-door trucks, and not trying to take away, there's so many badass four-door trucks out there. And so, but I wanted to make sure that we had room for 4 full-size adults inside this thing, and I didn't want to share the shocks. Usually the coilover shock has to be into the cab a little bit, and then they build a cool sheet metal area around it or whatever. I didn't want that. I wanted full, access to the rear for passengers. And so we moved the shocks out back.
Doesn't that limit like travel and stuff?
What's that?
Doesn't that limit travel a little bit or no?
No, we
really?
no. We have 30 inches of rear wheel travel.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, we're good. So we have a good cantilever system with a hybrid arm where half the arm's chromoly, half is billet aluminum. And so, and then the bump stop bumps on the actual aluminum cantilever arm itself. Shocks are all the way out back. So part of the reason we did that is to get some of the static weight at the rear of the truck. The trucks work better if you have 60%, rear weight bias.
Yeah.
And so it's better for traction, better for handling and on, open straights where you're really hauling butt. And so, so we get the benefit of that as well, and it just looks super cool. It's super rad. So So that's the one that we're building right now, and then we're also building a Blazer. It's on the chassis table right now, the H-frame. That one it was drawn by Jason Hurd from Tech Consulting. I think he also owns DIY Off-Road. But the tubing and all that stuff is at Cal West being cut while we speak right now, being bent and laser notched. So we'll start assembling that chassis. That one is going to be similar to the old Baldwin trucks where it actually has a mezzanine rear arm. So the shocks will go, so the pivot for the arm is all the way at the very back of the truck. The arm comes forward over the rear end itself, so you have that link. And then it's like a miniature trailing arm where the shocks are placed not 100% in the middle of that thing, but the shocks go backwards and go up into the back corner of the rear camper shell.
Oh, wow.
And so, so it's super.
Wow.
And again, to get 4 full-size adults in this thing. So this one is supercharged. It's got an LS with a big Magnuson on it. I can't remember if it's a Magnuson or a Whipple. We actually don't have the engine here yet, but he detuned. They made 1,300 and some horsepower with it. Wow. And so they detuned it so they can run E85 or regular fuel. So I have a flex fuel sensor, but so big horsepower, another paddle shifted, 4L80 all billet trans type deal. So, and then we're still keeping 4-wheel drive with that one as well, but we're using Ocho's front beams. So it'll be twin traction beam in the front. So,
Got it. Yeah.
and then we're stretching it 18 inches. So the wheelbases will be a little bit longer, but we needed to, make room for, like I said, 4 full-size adults. So, and then the other crazy thing, we have the biggest rear 3-link wishbone I've ever seen, all heat treated, just a gnarly. And so the 2 passengers in the back sit down between that big wishbone.
That's so
That thing's like if you would get scared if we didn't have tin in it. What I mean? You just see this thing, the scissor right next to you. Yeah. So but,
That's cool.
That is so cool. Like the off-roading world for me is just, I respect it even more than, I mean, I would say like a hot rod build, but it just seems like there's a lot more going on than a hot rod. So like, what is your take on it? Like building a hot rod versus like an off-roading truck? Because you also mentioned too that earlier we were talking that you would prefer to have maybe 2 hot rods and 1 off-road truck or 4 off-road. I don't know. Like, so like which on like scale of like man hours, like how many hours it takes for a build versus for a truck versus a hot rod? Like, what's the difference there? I'm curious.
It's a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 ratio, realistically,
so
with the trucks
wild.
versus the cars. Yeah, and so the amount of engineering in the off-road trucks. So here's how I explain it. You got like aerospace, then you got Formula One, then you have off-road, then you have everything else. Like realistically, like that's kind of how it is. And so it's crazy the amount of engineering. Like you had said that, you had mentioned earlier, Rob, you have to pack all these amenities in it. So building trophy trucks is one thing. Like you have Mason at the top of the trophy truck building game, in my opinion. You have Geyser, you have, Racer Engineering, you have a bunch of really badass truck builders. But then the luxury pre-renters have to have all that stuff. But then you have to pack all the amenities of all the creature comforts if you're building a luxury pre-renter. So it needs to do everything the trophy truck does, but it also has to have AC and heated seats. And, I think we have air conditioning seats available to us now. Like that's, So packaging, again, is the biggest issue with all this stuff. And so that's kind of why we like the trucks. I'm not going to say we like the trucks more than building cars, but it's definitely a 3 or 4-to-1 where our minds are really, really working on the trucks. Like where the cars are, I'm not saying you don't do super bitch and cool stuff to cars, but it's just a little bit of a simpler formula. If that makes sense. I'm not trying to take away from the car building or car builders. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you're working with 5 inches of wheel travel. We're working with 30 inches of wheel travel over here. So, it's, and that brings me to a point. I'm not talking mess, but, like Battle of the Builders, we won our class, top 4 Battle of the Builders. But, before we left for SEMA, I told my guys, because I wasn't sure if we should even enter Battle of the Builders. And I put it to the guys. The guys always make these decisions. I put it to the guys. If you want to enter Battle of the Builders, we will. If you don't, then we won't. And so the guy said, nope, we need to. I said, okay. So I told him before we left, I said, listen, if we win, great. If we don't, great. Either way is okay. I just want the experience of taking this thing to SEMA. That's what ultimately it's about. So don't be disappointed if we don't win anything or whatever. And I said, but if we do win, if we win and there's nothing better than what we brought, then cool. And I love it. But if we win or don't win because there's something better, then you all need to be honest with yourselves about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you'll see something and go, that's better than what we brought, 100%.
Yeah.
And so going into that, this is the shit talking part, I guess, a little bit. I'm not trying to talk mess, but
You're good.
Noah's Charger, I could not have built a better charger.
Wow.
That's the baddest charger on the planet.
Truly is.
So I still don't think it was better than the Willys. To be honest, and I'm not trying to be biased about it. I just know that, like, again, the Charger has 5 inches of wheel travel. We have 30 inches of wheel travel. We have 4 times the amount of engineering in the Willys. Then, and I think, like I said, not take away from the Charger. I personally could not have built a better Charger. Noah's Charger is the baddest one in the world, for sure. But I think that the world isn't ready for an off-road vehicle to win SEMA, Battle of the Builders. And I think the guys there, even though you're being judged by your peers, they kind of don't know what they're looking at. And when you've got 10 minutes to explain 6,500 hours worth of work, you just can't do it. You can't get it in there. So and it's just my opinion on the car versus the truck thing.
100%.
And that was just an example. No, I'm not picking on you, bro. You are a badass dude. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. And again, that's just my opinion. It doesn't make me right. It's just my opinion. But
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. I mean, like, if you're going to go and you're going to compete, you kind of know in the back of your mind that that's the reality, like what you just described. Nobody really knows what they're looking at quite
100%.
yet. You can't truly appreciate the magnitude of what something like the luxury, Ultra 4 Willys is. You know,
and I don't want to sound ungrateful. I didn't think we would make top 4. I really didn't. Like, when we made top 40, I'm like, whoa, okay. I didn't think we would. So,
but you just do it just for the sake of it, and like, a lot of times you just do it for your client. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna put this in here. Yeah,
and if we didn't go that far, I wouldn't have loved the Willys any less. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because you put your best foot forward every step of the way, and you are all your whole crew are proud of what you've done, and really that's what matters. If you if you guys love it and your clients love it, what's more important than that?
Right. And like you just touched base on it, it's the crew. The Willys wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for every single guy that I have working for me.
Wow.
Every single guy had a hand in it, making something or building something and making it what it is. It wasn't just one guy, you know what I mean? Not even close. Like, I would have to say that Nick performed the most man hours on it and did the most tasks. But, you know, even our mechanic guy, this is a rad story. Our mechanic guy, he's not a fabricator, but when we were building the light bar, the way Nick designed the braces on the back, he had like a dimple-dyed hole in the middle on the back. Well, we were making it go up and down one day, and Marty walks over and he goes, "Why don't you put some KC Cyclones in those holes right there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, duh, why don't we do that? That's badass." Like that, you know. And so everybody had a hand in, you know, in making it what it is. And that, you know, your team is everything. That's as much as I love the cars and what we're building and stuff like that, my team's like my family. Like they're family to me. And so without them, we do not move forward. Like, and so I want, you know, you got to make sure every one of those guys is happy. You know, within reason, I mean, obviously, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I want that, because if they're happy with what they're doing and you treat them with respect and treat them well, that's what you get is the Willys. That's how you get that. That's right. Not just skill alone, but, you know, guys that are passionate about it and happy with what they're doing. And I don't know. I think it's just a good formula for building cool shit.
It most definitely is, and that's reflected in what you guys are accomplishing. You can see it.
Yeah, you can't just do it on your own, even though you might have all the ideas or think you have all the ideas, but someone else's input is always awesome.
Yeah.
It always makes it better, pushes the envelope, makes everything better. So it works very well at the end.
It does. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So I'm hoping that with these projects that you're talking about that's on your plate now, that you're going to put some long format content out for everyone to appreciate.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like,
are you going to potentially do any YouTube videos about it?
Yeah, so we just filmed the next YouTube episode, because we took like more than a year hiatus from doing YouTubes. And so we have a new guy, Ryan Foss. I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan Foss. He films for Motor Trend and some of the other, in so talented. He's the one that did our Willys.
The documentary?
The documentary, yeah.
It was so good.
If you could see the quality of that,
so
it's like
good. Lighting was perfect.
Like,
camera, everything was so good.
The music, like, I'm like, are we watching TV?
Cry?
Yeah. It'll pull at your emotions 100%. Like that. I mean, thanks for making me cry, dude. Thanks for making my girlfriend cry. Like, yeah.
That's nice.
It's pretty rad. Rad. So he's going to do our YouTubes. We just did the first episode 2 Wednesdays ago. So I'm not exactly sure what day we're going to release it, but very soon, within the next week or two, we'll release that episode. Yes, I want to get back into the YouTubes like crazy. I'm very disappointed in Instagram. They have changed their algorithm
so many times.
It's insane. Like the content that I used to put out, you know, I used to get a bunch of engagement, and you know, and now I don't get hardly anything on the exact same things that I'm posting. And I would say, obviously, there's a percentage of people that get tired of seeing the same thing, and I get that. But ultimately, you know, my followers, I only have 100,000 followers, but my followers are there to see what I'm doing. 100%. It is organically grown. Just those dudes are there just to see what I'm doing. And when you post something up that's technical and cool, and 500 people like it,
I know that's kind of,
they're not putting it in front of the people that want to see it. And that's a little bit frustrating, you know. And I think, you know, you get the little things that pop up all the time and say, you know, you want to boost this post or whatever. They're a business too, and they just want to make more money, and I get that. But at the same time, I'm just trying to put out content so that if it helps somebody or educates somebody or inspires somebody in some way, then that's really what it's all about. That's the whole point of doing Instagram, you know, in my opinion anyway. So
I love that. I believe that too. That's a really important part. Inspiring other people to you know, to keep the dream alive, to keep the whole thing going.
Yeah, like we said, you know, we had to wait for Hot Rod to come out. Some cool stuff, you know what I mean? So why not put up, you know, that's one thing I love about what Morgan does. He explains in very great detail.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't, here's what I love. He doesn't hide anything.
No, nothing.
Not every weld's the most perfect weld, especially like when you're doing aluminum, some of the welds, you know, you're going to file it off. So you're not taking the time to make the most gorgeous welder. You're filing that sucker off. It don't matter. And so he shows everything, the whole step all the way through.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he has such a huge following, is people love that, man. They want it. It fires you up. They're like,
yeah,
hey, I can do this, you know?
I've been following Morgan now for years, and like I understand exactly what you're saying, and I love that too. Like just the rawness of it. It is so real, and it is unbelievably inspiring. If you want to,
because he's not hiding it.
No, he's not, because there's no gatekeeping.
The
no, he doesn't gatekeep the process and all of that.
Yeah, because the process isn't always gorgeous. The outcome is.
Yeah.
But the process isn't always beautiful and gorgeous. Like it might, hey, we're filing this off, we're sanding this down. It don't matter. It just has to structurally be perfect. So let's make it structurally perfect. We don't have to double pass it right now or do this stuff like this, And so I just love that, man. That's the coolest thing.
It's just super authentic, right? And you can see that 100%. Like instantly. You're like, okay, this is awesome. I'm in.
Yeah, that's also why I follow Morgan, and I mean, it's just I love the details and everything, and so we also try to do that on the social media. Like I'm like, okay, like how can we make our content better? Because people also ask us questions like all the time of how do you do this or do that, and so we're like, we're just gonna show it. So so we just try to do it as often as possible. And
shit is not easy to do. It's not easy to do social media. Like it's
a lot of work.
It's hard. It's so much work. Like Elvis here does it full time.
Yeah.
Like, and if it wasn't for him, it would just be myself and Tim, doing it the old way. And it sucks, man. It takes away from your flow, your momentum when you're thinking deep about something that you're working on. Like it's so hard.
Because for me, what I also think about too, it's not just like people seeing the work exactly, but you have I always think of the first 5 seconds, because now the attention span of people now is like 3 seconds or something insane. So you always have to think of that. Okay, if somebody sees this, just swiping and sees this for 2 seconds, like, are they gonna click? Or are they gonna stay or not? So it makes it harder to produce.
Yeah, you're trying to capture somebody's interest in 3 seconds.
Literally.
You do that, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I know how you do it, but my marketing skills are not on. I told my son went to school for business marketing.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, I don't know much about it, son, but I can tell you this. Take a gorgeous woman and put it in front of it, and you'll sell the shit.
Easy, 100%.
I said,
that's
my extent.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Tell their college professor I said that.
Oh my God. But and so even with YouTube, like it's also, they always change their algorithms now. And so even people that would subscribe to you a lot of times would not even see the content, because they're trying to push some algorithm, or it's very interesting. So it's a different world that you have to mess with. But I would watch I would watch whatever content you guys would put up, because again, it's what you're interested in, and I want to see it. So.
And it's funny too, that the difference, like when Instagram was rolling pretty heavy and hard, I learned that like if I posted, I had like 3 different tiers. If I post anything off-road, it would usually blow up. It was super cool, especially if it was a vehicle in motion or doing something cool.
Something wild, yeah.
Then the car stuff. If I post any car stuff, well, then that was a big step down. Like, if I got like 5,000 likes or something on, something off-road, I would get 500 likes on a car post or whatever.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, or 1,000, let's say. And then the stuff that I like the very most, which is the really technical, cool bitchin' part that we made, I geeked out on it. I will post that thinking this is the coolest thing in the whole world, man. I can't wait for everybody to see this. And I got 55 likes. Well, I guess these people aren't here for that, they're not here for that. They want to see a truck jumping,
Yeah, it's very interesting to know the audience. It's very...
Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, it's funny because you almost can't stray away from it, because but we're like, please, we promise, it's actually cool.
It's super cool. Like, look at this right here. Look, we put a hole in it right here. It's itching.
Yeah, it's interesting. And so, when you switch, so that's why I also appreciate people. Some people like have managed to pivot. Like, people, for example, like Adam LZ, he started off with like biking or whatever, like completely different from cars. He started off with like biking or like, what did they call it? BMX from back in the day. Yeah. And he moved to cars, and people, a lot of his audience followed him. and now he's moved to Formula Drift and all these things. So it's very interesting, even though they're very different, different fields. To have the audience follow you, it's actually wild. So
yeah, that's an incredible feat in itself, to bring your audience over to different, completely different
to convince
things.
them that it's as interesting as the last one, if not more.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But anyhow, like everything pretty much that you guys post, Morgan, all of that, doesn't matter what it is. Like I'm invested, and so I always like look at it. I'm like, oh, what is this new post here, and all of that. So it doesn't depend on if I'm like, oh, this looks cool, but a lot of times I get a lot out of the explanation too, like we've mentioned. It's huge.
Well, for me, it was Hey Frank, I gotta call you back. So for me, it was never about like, I never wanted to monetize it. I never wanted to be it to, I don't know. Ultimately, it was just to share what we're doing and maybe show some people what we've got going on. That's ultimately, I don't have a blue check mark. I don't want one. I never applied for one. I don't care about that stuff. Like, I ultimately just want to share what I think is cool. And if it inspires somebody or helps somebody in any way, then that dude. I mean, if you think about it, and Rob, you're closer to my age, but as we get older, we start thinking about what are we going to leave behind? What are people going to remember us by? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. It is definitely way up there, top of mind. Any little tiny tidbits that you do put out there, I mean, if it's authentic and it's cool and you think it's cool and you just want to share it just for the sake of it, I mean, the value is in that right there.
Huge.
Yeah, because, I mean, and you meet people and they're cool and that's great, but what ultimately, just because you're a cool guy doesn't mean you're going to be remembered for a long time. I want to be remembered as like, hey man, that guy really, he built some cool stuff, but he also taught us this, or he did this and it was neat and we learned from that, or whatever, because I've learned from so many people. That's how I remember certain people and look at, and as we get older, like there's dudes that I just never thought of it as a young man. There's businesses have either they closed up because they didn't want to do it anymore, or somebody unfortunately passed away and so that business closed down, or like there's a gentleman named Mel Swain. He was a metal shaper. This dude was mind blowing at what, and I would try to get him to teach me stuff and he didn't necessarily want to, I think he wanted to take it with him, and he was a rad nice guy, but so I would just learn what I could when I went to visit, and I would see what's going on over here. And he was also one of those guys he was so meticulous and particular. He had cabinets for everything. So when you walk in his shop, he only has the one tool out that he's using at that time.
That's wild.
It was wild. Like so you look, and so he would shape like bodies. He had a big hammer form machine, like a yodeler, big giant yodeler, and he would build wooden bucks, and he would build full Ferraris, like old Ferraris and stuff like that. Just kind of like Marcel's, if you're familiar with Marcel's. And so, but I would see where he would even gas weld aluminum. You can't see, other than sometimes the rod, was a different color than the actual parent metal. You can't tell, and it don't need body work. It would be a crime to put Bondo on it. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't need it. Like, and those guys we're losing those guys. Those,
That is a craft. I think the TikTok generation is probably not going to gravitate towards. The attention span is really, really deep.
How are you going to get somebody that has a 3-second attention span to learn how to shape a piece of metal? Like, I don't know how you're going to do that. Like,
that makes me a little bit sad for like, kind of circling back to the tech part of things. It makes me a little bit sad.
Concerning.
I know there are a lot of people out there now that are trying to bring that particular craft back to life. There are a lot of people doing classes and sort of like trying to keep it alive. And I really love that, but I think that it's really, really hard, and whether or not it's something that's sustainable.
I have schools come by the shop sometimes, and that's one of my favorite things, is because, and when you're talking with, say maybe 20 or 15 kids, you could tell you could just see it in some of the kids' eyes. They're
Yeah.
like, really? Oh, damn, this is amazing. Like this is, and so if we can capture some of those, and nurture some of those people that want to do that kind of stuff.
You can still see people that are interested in it. Like, for example, even when, because my car is gonna need fenders, like my Datsun is gonna need like fender flares and a bunch of other things when it's done. And I could like do a lot of things to make sure, like 3D print or all that. But I already talked to Rob and I was like, yo, Rob, teach me how to build a metal flare, because I just think the metal one looks pretty cool too. So
You should come out. We'll do both our cars together, because I actually don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
I
so
have to do.
funny.
I have to do my 510. I have to do the flares of my 510.
Perfect.
Let's learn together. Let's learn together.
That is amazing. Speaking of 510s, tell us about like what is that car? Because Rob mentioned it a while back. So what is the 510? It's your 510, like tube chassis? No.
Yep.
What is it?
Yeah. So a buddy gave me this 510. It literally has been 30 years. He gave me this 510 30 years ago. Just gave it to me. He said, I'm never going to do anything with it. You can have it. So we cut the body off. Literally cut the body, picked the body off. You could probably drive that platform away. That was, it didn't run, but you could,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to build an all-wheel drive 510. I've always liked 510s. I have a soft spot for Datsuns. They're my favorite cars out of all cars.
Same. Same.
Yep. And so I've always wanted a 510, and I thought, well, I can do a cool 510, but let's do a really cool. Let's do an all-wheel drive. And I really looked into, like, I wanted Skyline stuff at first. It's out of my budget, man.
They're
It's
insane. The Skyline tax
Especially
is
now.
real.
Yeah.
and I love it. Don't get me wrong. And that would be ultimately, if I was filthy rich, that's the platform I would have. But I'm not. And so I turned to the Subaru platform. So a buddy of mine had a WRX. I did some quick measurements. Just the width, the track width is perfect for a 510 with fender flares. Like right out of the get-go, it's perfect for that. And so I decided, okay, let's tube chassis it, and then we don't have to worry about the length of it, the wheelbase, But let's keep all the factory mounting points, because the width is already perfect. We don't have to do a bunch of re-engineering on suspension. And so, which we ended up doing it in the rear anyway. So the front is, and I was trying to keep it, like all the components are 2002 WRX.
Okay.
And so if you needed a part, you just go, other than what we built and machined, if you wanted front struts, they're 2002 WRX.
Yeah,
front struts.
available.
The brake kits are for, 2002 WRX. brake
Perfect.
kits.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the rear, we use double adjustable strange, shocks, and then it has a dual bell crank, cantilever system in the rear. But I wanted to make sure all-wheel drive, big horsepower, lightweight. So this car will have, it's going to be the opposite of what we normally build. No frills. I will put AC in it because I'm of that age where I don't want to drive anything, be hot and sweaty.
No, same. I don't want to drive anything without AC anymore.
Yep, exactly. So
Yeah.
So we did tube chassis. We're shooting for 2,000 pounds, soaking wet, like full of fuel, ready to rock.
gosh.
Which I was already weighing stuff as we were assembling it, and for what we have so far done, like the chassis and suspension stuff, we probably won't make 2,000, but I think we can be under 22, 2,200
okay.
max. Yeah,
That's still
and
pretty
so
light.
the engine was done by a guy named CJ that owns a business called RPM in Huntington Beach, and
Nice.
he does a lot of like road race, Subaru engine stuff like that. So it's a hybrid engine, Crawford 2.5 bottom end,
Okay.
with my 2.0 heads, and then the turbo and all the stuff that he told me to get. He said I am consistently making 620 to 640 to the wheels with that setup. So if we're 2,200 pounds, 620 to 640 to the wheels, it's going to be a fun car to drive.
That's gonna be a good car. Yeah.
And then I also just got the trans back from ZF Design in Colorado. They put the X Shift kit in it for me.
Oh, nice.
And so, so we'll have the shifter with the strain gauge. We'll be able to, no lift shift up and down. So that should be make
that's
it
good.
that much
Good.
more fun to drive with the
Yeah.
sequential.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That sounds awesome, man.
So I'm excited. We're just gonna do a skid plate on the bottom and just close it out with all the firewall panels and all the pieces will Zeus fasten on, and so it's gonna be kind of raw and loud, but it's just something to go grab some parts in and
That is fun. That sounds like
Right
such
after-
a fun car.
I'm gonna do everything I can to stay off the Channel 7 evening news.
An all-wheel drive. Oh, so good. I think I was literally telling Rob before that I'm like a 510 is one of my dream. Like I want a 510 so bad. I want a wagon.
Cool.
Potentially want a wagon. I'm like, oh, they're so cool.
So I just picked up another Datsun that I've always wanted since high school, and a lot of people don't know about them for some reason. But they're the closest thing to the Skyline, I think, the older Skylines. But so I bought a 76, and they made them, I think, from 73 to 77 or 8. If I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
But a Datsun 610.
Yeah, isn't that the wagon?
Yeah, isn't it?
No.
There's a 610 wagon.
They made a 610 wagon.
Yeah. But I know the 610.
This is not.
Yeah. What?
This is a two-door. Yep, it's a two-door hardtop, so it doesn't have a post.
Okay.
The roof line is lower.
Yes.
And the way the back comes down, it looks like a 68 or 69 Chevelle in the back. Kind of.
It's almost like it's like more slopey-ish.
It is such a good. Yep, it's a good-looking body style.
Yeah, I love that body style. Yes.
That's gotta be.
And the earlier ones had front fenders that didn't have like a big turn signal assembly in the front, so I'll just weld all that up and make it look like the older fender. But it's a cool. I'm excited. I don't know what I'm going to put in it.
That's so cool. Yes, I've wanted
to. Rob thing.
Yes.
So I have one. The first one I'll do. I'm just probably going to do like. Probably techno toy tuning suspension on it all the way around. And then I have a Ford Racing 392 cubic inch crate engine, which I think it makes like 475 horsepower is what it was advertised as. And then I have the SN95 T5 world class T5 transmission.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna do that setup in that first Jeep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the keep it simple build.
That's the keep it simple build. Yeah, that stuff's easy to do. Actually, it's not terribly hard. So
you're not building a chassis or anything for that one, just
no. I just leave. I'll do a cage in it and stuff, but I'll just leave the chassis pretty much. Other than some additional bracing, we'll leave it alone. And then the other two, I would like to do one like high school where I still use the L series engine. Mm-hmm. But just a max effort L series engine, I couldn't afford back in the day. Yeah. I don't know what it is about that inline six, but when the exhaust is proper,
it sounds so good.
It sounds so good.
So
there's something really, really amazing about them too. Yeah,
it's just it is a good sound. So I'd like to do one that way, and then the last one, I already have the block, and I've been collecting some parts for it, but I'm gonna do like a twin turbo LSX. Just something just stupid that, you can't drive it. You can, but you're just like, okay, geez, no full throttle inputs, type thing.
Sweet. No, you get tingles just thinking about it. You're like, oh shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I'm building a Datsun, or my first Datsun that I ever had. It's a ZX, but a 280ZX, and so they're helping me with. I'm building a full chassis for it because I was just gonna drop an LS into it, but they were like, it's gonna twist and blah. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna cut everything out and start again. So
you did full tube chassis, no stock floor, like full tube chassis?
Yeah, initially I was like, maybe I'll keep the stock floor, but as I was looking at it and measuring, because I'm using a Corvette C6 Z06 drive power suspension, so it's like Corvette suspension and all of that. So I 3D scan stuff, and then I'm designing the rails and all of that based on the pickup points of the main Corvette chassis. But so that kind of introduced, the motor is set far back in the engine bay of a stock Corvette. And so I'm like, it means I'm going to have to, I've placed it now in a CAD. And so now it means I'm going to have to cut a hole in the firewall. So I'm just going to have to start again because I want to also drop it low. So it has like 4 inches of ground clearance and all of that. So they've been helping me a lot with that. So I need fender flares. So that's why.
I need to follow this build. Do you have pictures on it on Instagram or anything?
Yes. I haven't so I had it in a previous build because I never had any experience building cars before. So before I knew them and started working at the shop, I had it done. It's like a multicolored Datsun with a ski box on the roof with huge tires. Terrible. But it drove so bad. But that was kind of what it's called, the Golden Drive. And I have like social media and all of that around it. So I haven't announced to the audience yet that I'm cutting it up, but I'm like stockpiling a bunch of footage now. But so that's.
I want to check this out. I want to follow this.
I'll text you. I'll message you with the Instagram and all of that. So perfect. Yeah, but I'm curious to see where your Datsun builds go because
Yeah,
This sounds
yeah.
so cool.
It's just the 510 right now, and then I always want to be building something for myself. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of the point of and it gets more difficult as you get older and as life happens and unfolds. It gets harder and harder to spend extra time in the shop, and so but I just try to push hard on that still because I don't want a point where I'm not always building something, at least one thing for myself.
Yeah,
So,
true.
It allows you to
I am.
express yourself in a way that you don't get to if it's for somebody else too. So it's just,
Yes.
it's like a freedom. It's like a freedom of expression that,
Certainly.
it's a wonderful tool.
Yeah. Are you gonna be
Yeah.
at SEMA this year?
Yeah, me and the crew are going. We're not taking anything, so it's. I don't think we're doing much this year as far as Off-Road Expo, Sand Sport Show, and SEMA. We're not really going to do anything this year. We're kind of at that beginning stages of builds where I don't have a lot to bring to the table for the partners that I work with. Like Casey Lights, I won't be with them this year. The first time in 7 or 8 years that I haven't brought something. So I'm super sad about it, but we're just not in a position to be able to fixture lights on something to help them display. And so, so next year we'll have many cool things to start displaying. And, it's just we're at that weird stage right now.
Yeah, we did that last year. We didn't bring a car last year, so it was kind of weird because at previous years, almost every year was. But it was kind of nice still to like not have to, I guess, man or monitor the car or to like talk to people like around the car and all of that.
Yes.
So
So I'm looking forward to that because I told the crew, I said, hey man, we're gonna go up there, we're gonna network and just talk with people, and we're gonna be on Easy Street, dude. It's gonna be pretty chill, just kind of talking with people, not worrying so much about a vehicle.
Yeah, it most definitely opens up your freedoms to do that. It's a wonderful thing. SEMA's great for that. I love that.
Yeah, but we have taken a car though. It's do you know Ash Thorpe? The designer. So he designed a Batmobile and a few other. He's a really talented designer. Him and another guy, Carlos, they started this company called Make Haste Corp. They design cool cars, but he designed this Mercedes 190E and asked us if we wanted to build it, and so we said yes. So
Nice.
so it's gonna be really cool.
We're pretty deep in that one right now, and it's
Yeah.
be at SEMA this year.
Okay.
Full carbon
So
is what we're going for.
All carbon?
Yeah.
It's going to be an all carbon bodied car.
Okay.
We're redoing that whole thing. Just
Chassis.
like how you're describing with the Datsun 510, like cut basically the whole underpinnings of the vehicle is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Starting completely over from scratch. I mean, other than the greenhouse shape, it's completely new.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we're
When you
excited
say
for that.
greenhouse shape, you're talking about all the inner structure, right? Just the inner
like
structure.
the front
on
windshield,
down.
roof,
Yep.
C pillar area like that. Like just that.
Okay.
That's recognizably 190,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
everything
Everything
else
else
is all new.
Not. Yeah.
So
That's exciting.
it's you can't really sort of describe it verbally. You'd have to see it. So Make Haste Corp is I mean, Ash and Carlos, that team of designers are phenomenal, and they're so busy. Those guys, they probably work 24 hours a day. It seems like it.
Man, that's crazy.
Their Instagram is really active. YouTube,
Really active.
but they're phenomenal, and so we're building the 190. They call it the Paradigm.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I have heard of that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it came across my feed the other day.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah. So that's the car that we're building.
So we're
Okay.
pretty deep in that one right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay.
at
It's gonna be pretty
Toyo's
special.
Oh, I
We're
should've said that.
yeah, we're debuting it at the Toyo Tread Pass.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask where it was going to be. So, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We were going to try to push the 510 to be completed this year in Tread Pass also.
Yeah.
But we decided not. We just have.
It's too much.
My main fabricator moved. He actually moved to Tennessee a couple months ago, and so with that happening, it just pumped the brakes on any extra activities. Just to you need to keep focusing on the main build. So
Well, maybe next year. That would be cool to see it.
we are shooting for next year. Actually,
That would be so cool.
yeah.
Yeah, the only thing about the Tread Pass thing is that you're really not allowed to show
Yeah.
any
anything
progress along
while
the
you're
way
building.
in socials. So
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
yeah, no, it's part of the thing is that they want the initial unveiling to be you know, in their
Interesting.
space.
Yeah, but we like to show stuff along the way, so we're like, we can't really show it.
Yeah,
so.
details
Well, there's a
you're
ton of
allowed.
stuff already on social with the 510, so that kind of puts the 510 out on that.
No,
but I'm sure we could find another place
No,
for
but
it.
I'm sure you might still be good because if they just don't want to see the completed car, if that makes
The
sense.
completed car. Okay. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so if at some point, because even ours, technically people know what it's going to look like because we did it in reverse because they
Okay.
unveiled the render and then,
Yep.
and so then we're now building it, but they said we can't really post until it's done and then we're going to we're documenting the whole build series and so we're going to release it, stagger it maybe every week for a week after SEMA till like a month or two afterwards, but yeah, so that's just something you have to consider when you're displaying a car at Treadpass is they're very particular about displaying stuff before the fact. So
Yeah, if there's any kind
Gotcha.
of like,
Okay.
if you're questioning whether or not you're eligible or whatever, I just hit up Stan at Toyo. I can give you the
yeah,
information.
Stan Chen, Toyo Treadpass.
Ask him, be like, "Yo, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
What do you think?"
Yeah,
He
okay.
curate. I mean, you've been to SEMA. You've been through Treadpass. Every year they have like such a eclectic and very interesting sort of approach to their display.
Have you guys had a car there before?
Yeah. What's that?
Have you guys had a car at Treadpass?
No, we never have had a
No.
car in Treadpass.
Okay. I was just thinking. I was
No,
like,
we
wait, I
never- we
remember
never had.
something. No, but that was a different car. Okay, that
No,
was you
it
guys.
was there was an off-road truck in there last year.
Yeah.
was.
I was
It was
wait
like a
second.
Tacoma maybe or something.
Yeah, it
but-
was like.
but it
I
had
forgot what color it was. Yeah, but
that is supercharged. It wasn't an LS or was it?
I don't
can't
remember what it was, but I knew it was like noteworthy. I was like, that thing is cool.
Right.
So
Yep, it was cool. Cool truck. Cool truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys brought something up, and I just want to touch base on it. How do you guys feel about how crazy the renderings are? Because I feel a type of way about that too.
Well, I mean, my thought usually is like that is unbelievably unrealistic.
yeah.
Some artists are going as far as to try to make it a little bit more feasible, and you can kind of see that. But most of them are just outrageous.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's not gonna work in real life.
It is.
Like it's
it is
far.
so cool, but like you're like, man, that you can't build that. Like, I mean, of course you can build it, but you can't use it. It's not a car.
Yeah.
So here was my experience and thought about the realistic renderings, okay? Because some guys will draw them and give it sound and give a walk around, and if they do it at the proper actual ride height, not the rendering ride height, but the real ride height,
Yeah.
it literally, they're so good at what they're doing that it's almost too good. And my experience with it was when I did Ken's Nova, the boosted Nova.
Yeah.
They did a full rendering walk around, killer sound, everything, and that got released. And I remember after we finished the car, there was comments like, "Well, I thought this car was already done."
Oh.
Yeah, right.
And so that makes me feel a type of way about renderings. I think that, again, they have their place. Like a rendering like that is great to share with your client, but I almost think it should be between just the builder and the client. Because if you release that, then people, like
You're like, oh, this car was already real.
there's no nice way to say it. It's like you blew your load already, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I feel that way about it a little bit. Like, I think it has its place and it's super important, and those guys are insanely talented. But, like, I don't want to 100% see the finished product yet because I kind of want that steak hanging out there. What's
Yeah,
that
like,
gonna-
oh, what's that gonna look like when it's done? Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm super old school like that, I think.
Yeah.
Where, like, I don't know what it's going to look like when I cut this fender up. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Like, and then you step back and you're like, oh, that looks like shit. Or you step back going, oh my God, that's so badass looking,
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I think again
I
for
don't know,
us,
there's something
Yeah,
about the
but-
excitement.
with Ash and Carlos, like it's been again, we're doing it in reverse because, like you said, like people have seen what it looks like, but it's like, can you actually make that work, or what is it going to take to make it work? Because there's like we've already discovered on the way of building this thing. It's one thing to draw up something or to CAD up something, but will it actually function like it's intended to, like a car?
Yeah.
So
like
it's been
Rob said,
challenging.
some of it is pretty unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it looks bitchin', but you
Yeah.
ain't driving it like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
it won't drive like that.
Yeah, thankfully, Ash and Carlos, in a lot of their stuff, if you check out makehastecorp.com, they do it where it's like it's feasible that you can make this. Like, it's not so like 1 inch from the ground as like the ride hat. No, like they make it actually look like you could drive it or you could build it, which is what we loved about their stuff.
Yes.
And so there's still some challenges that come that you would only get when you're trying to build it, which we're discovering now on the journey to build of, it's like, wait, how is that going to work? Or we're engineering stuff or having our engineer work with them to come up with a feasible solution to a design problem, pretty much. Not a design problem.
The challenge is in like, okay, let's just like, can we actually make that real now? Like, I mean,
there's no realistic expectations.
Their designs are so out there. Like, these are cars that you've never seen before. Just, it's not like, you know, a shiny paint job and wheels on a GTO and it's like stock body. Like like you said, if you see something like that and a full walk around sound and all that, you're like you already blew your load. Like it's gonna look like that. But if it's something,
I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm sure there's a.
If it's something that you've literally never, that car doesn't exist. They don't make that car. And if you can make it look like that, there's a beauty in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we're curious because we haven't built to a render like on this level before. So we're curious to even know what the reactions will be like too, because we have no idea. So if people are like, oh, this is okay. But I think it's gonna be fun. But it's been great building it. So we'll see.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff for
but
sure.
I'm looking at the time. I'm like, wow, we've been talking for almost 2 hours. So
It goes by so fast. Yeah.
I'm like, oh gosh.
Just talking with equally minded, passionate car guys. Yeah, it's always been my experience with this guy.
Yeah, but we would like to respect your time too. Like, we would know, like, you have a busy time week, all of that, and we have a business to run. So, but we just wanted to wrap things up. I guess we could probably have you on at some point again.
I would be honored to, man. This has been a great time, so I'm happy. Anytime you guys want to chat about whatever, I'm down. So
thank you so much.
It's been a really good talk.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So again, for people that want to find you on social media, how can we? What's the shout out?
Everything I have is Rob RJFab. So YouTube's Rob RJFab, Instagram's Rob RJFab. I think I even have a Facebook, Rob RJFab. I don't do too much. I don't,
I was gonna ask. I was asking this Rob earlier. I was like Rob, but I was asking Rob earlier. I was like, what is the J in RJ?
Oh, okay. So my real name's John.
Oh.
My full name is John Robert Lindsay. Holy Redneck. Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. And so. I always feel like I'm in trouble when somebody calls me John. My teachers call me John. Yeah. Yes, officer. Like it's not good. Not good. So I had a friend in high school, and he's like, I don't know what to call you. So he started calling me Rob John. And that's where RJ came from.
So Rob is not even, what? That's so wild.
Yeah, my middle name's Robert, and so my mom called me Rob, and some of my school friends call me Rob. A few of them call me Robbie because my mom called me that, and I don't like that, but somehow they get away with it. But yeah.
There's a few stragglers out there that get away with it. There's my world too.
Yeah. Did everybody ever call you Robbie?
It happens occasionally.
Robbie. Oh my gosh.
It makes me feel like you're bored.
It's the whole time where you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Can you cut the crust off my sandwich too? Like, come on. I'm 4. I'm 5.
Yeah. It was so great to chat with you, Rob. Or
you too, Eldest. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we'll chat with you.
Really, really looking forward to everything that you guys got coming up. Please do, if you find the time, put out the content. We're all dying to see it. I know it's hard to do. We're really looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, the YouTubes, we're going to start rolling hard with the YouTubes again. And then I actually have been holding back some content on that truck, waiting to get to a certain point. I'm starting to release it more and more. So, so the truck builds, we'll start posting more and more on it. And we'll have some stuff out there.
Man, just keep it raw dog too. Just grab that camera and just vlog it,
Well, okay, we can do that. We used to do it all the time. We used to go live all the time.
Do it, man.
Yeah, do it.
Because otherwise, it can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. But everybody's stoked to see what you got going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the crew cab is almost to that point where I'm going to
Nice.
release exactly where it is and how it
Nice.
sits. And as soon as I do that, I can start posting just a ton of stuff of what we got going on in the shop.
Yeah.
Because we've been kind of not showing it on purpose, but yeah,
Cool.
That's
we're
good.
that's almost coming to an end here.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Awesome.
Well, thank
Cool.
you so much. This has been a
My pleasure, guys.
We're blessed, man.
Yeah.
Cheers
Have a
to you.
great rest of the day.
Well, let's link up at SEMA too.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll let you know when
Yeah.
we're there. We also do kind of like, we'll see if we'll have time to do it this year, but we do like live podcasts too. So
Oh, yeah,
we might,
okay.
We did.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll hit you up.
I think last year we did like 9 podcasts.
So many. Yeah.
Wow,
It was
That's so cool.
it was fucking madness.
Yeah, it was
It
awesome.
sounds like madness. Yeah.
It was cool though. It was cool.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have a car last year, so it was less of
Less
work.
stress, yeah, less
Now
stress,
it's
yeah.
gonna be. We'll see. We'll see how many we can squeeze. But
Well,
We always find a way to fill our time. So
yes.
Yeah.
But we'll link up for sure at SEMA. We'll let you know.
All right, sounds great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Rob.
See ya.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
cheers.